Some seasons of parenthood and life can be pure chaos, and this can make homeschooling a bit more challenging. And that is why when I was asked to be part of a collaboration video series on how I plan to homeschool or plan for homeschooling each week, I thought this would be a great opportunity to share tips and tricks to get by homeschooling in a busy season of life instead of just showing you a plan. So to check out the other videos of how other homeschoolers are planning their weeks, be sure to click the link at the very end of this video or in the drop box below. This will give you plenty of family dynamics and ways of making homeschool happen for different walks of life. So thank you, Ashley from Dash of Home, for hosting this collaboration. And now let's go ahead and get into my tips for homeschooling when life is busy. All right, so here are some tips to plan homeschooling each week. First, it may be a good idea to explain my family dynamics in relation to homeschool. I am the sole educator as my husband spends a significant amount of time working, and we have two children ages 3 and 6. They're soon to be 4 and 7. Homeschooling at this age, in our experience, is done more through play and exploration than heavy book work. And we are eclectic learners. We pull from multiple learning styles, and we change things up as needed. Which is often, to be honest. And as I stated before, right now we are in a very busy season. Beyond homeschooling and the usual motherly duties, I have 2 businesses. One that is currently being neglected a bit while I pour a lot of time into the other business. And there are other factors involved, but I will only share what is crucial to our homeschooling experience in this video. Okay, so weekly tip number 1. The very first tip that I have for you is to take advantage of any travel that you are doing. So as you know, travel can really make homeschooling challenging. I often tell myself we're gonna homeschool on a trip, but then we don't. So what I do is I leave the book work at home and I explore the places I visit. So for example, one of our children is heavily involved in an extracurricular activity that requires us to travel a little bit. And the actual time dedicated to the extracurricular activity when traveling is just a small portion of our timeline of the time that we're traveling. So I fill up the extra time that we're gone with unique experiences that we wouldn't get on a daily basis due to geographical proximity. So instead of filling the extra time up with book work and things like that, I find museums and other family-friendly attractions that can be used as homeschool. For example, we recently went to Dayton, Ohio, and we spent the first day there exploring the National Air Force Museum, which I highly, highly recommend, by the way. The next day, when we were done with her extracurricular activity, we visited the Wright Brothers Bicycle Shop and the Wright Brothers National Museum, and we also squeezed in time to visit the home of the infamous poet Paul Laurence Dunbar. Taking advantage of travel in this way allows our children to get a better picture of history than just reading text, and I feel that they retain more information as well when we do it this way. A side note, a bonus tip to go along with that homeschooling trip tip, I have my daughter bring paper and markers, and during every trip or after it, I have her sit and try to write something about what she learned, and also to draw a picture of what she learned or something that interested her in that museum or wherever we were at. And this both creates writing and art opportunities as well as a physical product that I can use because I live in a state where a portfolio must be turned in every year. So next, always be mindful of your bad habits and plan accordingly. It's so easy to just plan out the schoolwork that you want to accomplish, but then forgetting or just simply not being great at certain things can put you in a bad mood quickly. And if those small details become a point of stress, it can make you want to skip homeschooling for the day and kind of call it a loss. In my experience, that's what I'll say. So to explain what I mean, I'll go ahead and use some of my own flaws to paint you a picture. So for instance, meals can mess up an entire day. And if I don't sit down and plan the meals for a busy day, then I can so easily forget to have meals ready to go. Then I may find myself going out of the way to blow our grocery budget on packaged meals at the grocery store, or maybe stopping by fast food. Or maybe I even still decide to pack lunches, but now I'm running late because I did it the morning of, and when I finally remembered the kids will have to eat at some point during the day. I have made all the food mistakes. So now I take my time to into consideration, right? And I plan meals that can be easily prepared at the latest, like the night before, preferably sooner ahead of time. Another thing to consider is outfits. I'm horrible at doing laundry. I don't like doing it, and I have trouble not living out of baskets filled with clean clothes while my closet remains empty. And this is a horrible habit, and it can leave me in a bind in a day where we need to be dressed and out the door early. So planning outfits ahead of time on a slower day can be a big help. So I can group several outfits together and set them in my child's closet so that they can just dress themselves easily. Just be sure to prepare for the coming weather and to communicate with your kids to know how to dress accordingly. All right, now let's talk about making the to-do list a family affair. Now, I didn't really care to make this happen until I recently heard Haley Page talk about it in a recent video she did. Every day, she has at least one to-do item on her list that she has her kids help her with. And I don't know about you, but I often feel like adding kids into the mix can make getting a task done harder or take too long. That may be true. Haley has like a really good attitude towards her kids helping her. So instead of stressing about getting the chore done while the kids interrupt you nonstop, just enlist them to be your helpers. Life skills count as homeschooling. It gives you more time as a family also to work together on a task. Over time, the hope is that they get used to helping you with the household tasks, leaving you with more time to focus on things that matter, like homeschooling, because you're not spending a million years getting household tasks done anymore. So each day, just pick at least one item for them to help you with and just help them learn to do that task properly so your life gets easier over time. This next tip is for those of us who are running a business, and I do have more tips after this. That tip is to let them help you. So when it comes to my business, I can be very stressed about letting them get in the way or messing something up. It is a source of income for me, so I hesitate to let my tiny humans get involved. But also, I can see it on their faces how disappointed they are when I tell them no. So eventually, down the line at some point, I gave in to them asking to help. Does it slow things down a bit? Yes, it does. But saying yes has given them the opportunity to see how business is ran firsthand. They help me package products to send to customers. They take pride in carrying packages to the post office with me. They can help organize products and unpack new boxes of products I need to sell. I even pay them a bit when they help me to show them that we can receive money by using our skills to help meet a need. And guess what? All of that counts as homeschooling as well. I even have seen my child do pretend play after helping me, where she opened an online shop and had us pretend to pay for her products through a computer. She would package them up and pretend to ship them to us. And seeing that brought me a ton of joy, knowing that my child is already practicing skills that can help her maybe one day run her own business. Next, learn to say no, not to your kids, like we just talked about before, but just learn to say no. This is a hard one, and it can be hard to say no when someone is asking you to add another thing to your weekly schedule, even though we secretly know that we want to say no. Like, for instance, the time that I said yes to helping with something extra at the church, even though I knew it would burn me out and it would just be too much on top of everything else I do. Or maybe the times that I have trouble saying no to last minute invites with friends to do something when I know that we haven't homeschooled in a few days and we need to get back on track. It can be hard to say no to whatever it is that is making your day harder or burning you out. But simplifying your day is so important, especially when you have committed to home educating your children. You need to simplify your day enough to keep you in a good mental space to meet your family's needs and to make room for homeschool lessons. So for those times when you need tangible work to be done, keep it simple, okay? For example, we are big fans of open and go curriculums like Explode the Code and Draw Right Now. We have found that these types of curriculum are so user-friendly that my daughter often finishes them on her own. And to my surprise, she often finishes lessons the night before in bed and presents them to me in the morning so that she can have extra time to play. So I would highly recommend finding curriculum that is lightweight and can be done independently. This will give you a little extra time to complete tasks or do whatever else you may need to do. And it will also make schooling easier if that's something that you do like when you're super busy as well. Like car schooling, right? Traveling around with schoolwork. These kind of things can make it easier. Another tip that I live by is strewing is key, okay? Placing books or learning activities out in the open and presenting them in a way that will entice your kiddos is called strewing. So you can leave out sensory bins, games, indoor, gross motor options, reading level appropriate books, morning baskets, art options, and so much more. Really, the sky is the limit here. This allows your child to take their education into their own hands while strengthening their independent play and learning skills. And it counts as homeschool, right? It counts as homeschool, and it gives you a little more breathing room to get things done that usually keep you busy. Lastly, I do recommend enlisting a substitute teacher and taking a mental health day every now and then. So if my husband has a day off and doesn't have plans, then I can have him take over and teach them for a day while I get some work done or take advantage of being alone for a bit. Now, I do know that with this one, it is a luxury that not everybody can afford, but if it is an option for you, then do it. So even if it's not your husband that's a viable option as a substitute, maybe ask a family member or trade a day of homeschooling with another homeschool family. When you're a busy homeschooling parent, it's important to take time for your mental health and to kind of breathe, okay? Don't forget, this is a collaborative video series hosted by Ashley from Dash at Home. Check out the playlist linked on the top here. And if you're wanting to see how we homeschool on the regular, then just check out this bottom video here for more info. I'll see you over in that video. Have fun homeschooling.